There seems to be a little confusion about this one thing that people talk a lot about in the reselling industry, and I want to talk to you about that here on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flip It Ain't Easy. And I know a lot of YouTubers out there really mean well when they make videos, and sometimes I'll make videos in response to information I feel is sort of incorrect, and that's kind of what this is. It's not meant to bash anyone, but I thought it was important to kind of clear the air to the folks out there who are very impressionable. That's why they call us influencers here on YouTube, and to just make sure that everyone kind of knows what certain things are. And we toss this terminology around a lot on the live streams and just in general discussions in the comments, and that is if you're a niche seller, selling in a niche. Okay, the word niche as it pertains to eBay means simply specializing in a certain type of item, not selling like in a category. Like, for instance, you can't say that you're a niche seller but you sell every type of clothing item that there is on eBay. That's not a focused subset of the clothing category. So if you're selling in a niche, you're selling maybe women's plus size dresses, or paternity outfits, or maybe you're selling not just electronics, but maybe you're selling headphones specifically. And there's stores that are comprised of many niches, whereas the stores are so large that if you break them up, into their own store, they could probably say that they're selling within a niche in itself, because they have so many of that type of item. Now, as it pertains to what I sell pretty much everything. I sell everything I can find that's going to make a profit. Of course, that is the number one thing you should always strive for. If it's not going to be something that you can buy low and sell high, then it's something that you should avoid, regardless of if you're selling in a niche or not. Now, that's ideal. If you're selling in a niche, it is more ideal to sell in a niche than it is to sell everything like I do. And there's quite a few reasons why you would want to niche rather than not be a niche seller. Number one, you're going to get a lot more repeat buyers, because if they bought from you before, you specialize in that type of thing, chances are they're going to look to you, they're going to come back to you and buy from you again if they had a good experience. If you're selling in a niche, you can learn so much, and you can become an expert in a particular type of item versus, I'm going out buying hundreds of different types of things. I'm learning new things all the time, which is good, I guess, but I'm never going to really be an expert in any one item that I'm selling. If I'm just being honest with you, unless I have firsthand, maybe a hobby where maybe I'm using a drone and I'm flying drones all the time on my spare time, well, I guess I could be an expert with selling drones because I have that hands-on experience. But generally, if I go out and buy sports bras for women, I'm not going to have that kind of hands-on experience. And trust me, I won't, because I don't. And I'm not going to know as much about certain types of bras, for instance, than maybe a dedicated niche seller will, if that makes sense. Now, if you're going to try to sell within a niche, you really need to have multiple suppliers. And I say multiple suppliers because you don't want to put all your sourcing eggs in one basket, and one day you go to pick up more merchandise and this person's either not selling this type of merchandise anymore, they've left town, or they don't have a consistent supply for you, and you're finding yourself in a position where you can't run your business the way you need to now, and you just don't have the items, because being successful on eBay requires you to have consistent inventory that you pick up consistently, and not listing here a little bit, waiting a week, getting more merchandise and listing again. That is not a successful recipe no matter what you sell on eBay. So having a niche, you need to have a good consistent supplier, suppliers, and ways of picking up that merchandise. And it's not enough to have a supplier for this merchandise if you're being overcharged. So let's say you're selling shoes and you're being charged $10 a pair. well, you are going to have to make quite a bit of money on each and every one of those pairs of shoes. I'm thinking at least you want to strive for 5x your return on, your cost is 10. You want to sell that for at least 50 and then that's an average, sometimes lower, sometimes more, to make that type of thing work, because you still have to worry about final value fees. You should be promoting. If you're selling within a niche, in many cases, you're up against competition. And when you're up against competition, no matter what you sell, you should be promoting. And that's another thing. When you're within a niche, you have a better gauge on if you should be promoting at all. You'll have a better gauge on other people selling the same type of thing. You'll be more focused on your competition, and you'll have a better way of getting yourself on page 1 in best match search, which is the whole point of using promoted listings to begin with. That's if you do and if you need to. Some niches are specialized type things or one-of-a-kind type things. Why would you ever try to promote those items? Because whether you promote them or not, if someone searches for that item, you're going to be on page 1 anyway, because you don't have anyone else selling that type of item. So when you're dealing with a niche there, you can save money and not promote, where most people nowadays with eBay, and I hate to say it, most people do have to promote to compete now on this platform. That's where eBay is going. eBay is pushing the envelope. They're trying to get more and more people to promote higher and higher, because of course it's their bottom line and they're trying to make money. But when you're selling within a niche, you have a better understanding of if you need to play that game, and if so, how hard you have to play that game, or how much you have to promote, if that makes sense. The other misconception when it comes to selling in a niche is that you get comfortable. You pretty much fail eventually because you're comfortable and this, that, and other thing. And that is not true at all. If I could focus on a couple different things, 3 or 4 different types of items, and I knew that I can continually do that over and over and over again, that would be so much easier. And if anything, it probably would allow me to scale, because I'm now, through the process of elimination, I'm focused on now, whereas before I had no clue, now I know that half of this type of merchandise that was within my niche, I can no longer have to deal with or no longer buy, because it's just not making me the kind of money that I need. And now I can focus more on these particular items and finding more sources that sell this particular type of item within my niche. And now it's just a matter of, are you able to find enough supply to get that type of item in your store? And for me, again, it's the optimal way of selling on eBay. If you can find, I would say, no more than a handful of different things to focus on. Maybe you're selling shoes, maybe you want to sell tennis shoes, maybe men's, women's, kids, right? Not focusing on the dress shoes, not focusing on the boots, not focusing on any other type of footwear, and just narrowing your focus to those 3 different areas, I think would be a good way to start. Again, provided that you're able to find enough merchandise consistently to make that work. So again, I just wanted to make this quick video, maybe call it a PSA out there for you resellers. And I think most of you guys know what a niche is, but I thought it would be a good idea to make a video to just kind of make it clear that when you're selling in a niche, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it is an optimal way to run your business, but you got to be able to pull off the key things, the key components to make that work. But trying to make those kind of decisions, whether you're going to be a niche seller or maybe an everything seller like me, is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you to check out one of these videos here. And in the meantime, have a good rest of your day.